respond right away. God is moving in their lives. Okay, Galatians was written by Paul to a number of churches, not just one church. Galatia is a region. The other churches referred to are cities, like Corinth is a city. Thessalonica is a city. But Galatians is a region. So this letter was supposed to be something that was circulated, okay, to a number of churches. Kind of like a memo that was being passed around. Okay. The churches had a problem. They were getting attracted to a different gospel. And so this gospel was really different than the one they had accepted. And so that gospel was about false doctrine. It was a gospel that was downplaying or lessening the impact of grace. And so this is a letter against false doctrine and shows the superiority of grace. What was happening? They were becoming legalistic and they were giving up their freedom. And so Galatians is about Christian freedom. So serious was the situation in Galatia that when you read Galatians, it's very urgent and it's very direct. This is a corrective book. Paul was very serious. He even mentions his name, right? He mentions his name twice. Paul doesn't do that all the time, but he mentions his name twice. He's very direct, very serious. It's like, when you're sending a text, I don't know how it is here, but, in Manila, when you send a text and it's all capital letters, right? This guy's serious, okay? Is that how it is here? Like all caps? All right. All caps, like, where are you? All caps. I'm waiting for you, all right? Or, you owe me 200 ringgit, or whatever, something like that, So, this was serious. And so you can imagine Paul, if he was texting Galatians, it would be all capital letters. Very serious. Okay. And it's about freedom. It's very sad. It's very sad when a Christian gives up their freedom and they're going back to slavery, the slavery which held them in bondage before. At home, you can go ahead and read the key verses from chapter 2 and chapter 5. If there is a key chapter in Galatians, it would be chapter 5. And it begins so, it says, "It is for freedom that Christ has set us free. Stand firm then, and do not let yourselves be burdened again by a yoke of slavery." Okay. Now, for those of you who want to be more intellectual in your quiet times, there is a scholarly topic on the timing of Galatians and how it relates to the message of the book. So, it has to do with, one, when was Galatians written? And two, whom was it written for? In fact, if you Google Galatian theory, you'll come up with two theories that scholars consistently debate on, okay? Like I said, sometimes scholars come up with things just to make life hard for us, right? All these technical terms. But some scholars, they insist that, that the letter of Galatians was written to the northern churches. Some insist it was written to the southern churches. So that's all for reading, and if you read Dennett and Gundry, you can find out the difference. Okay, and since we said that Galatians is about grace as it relates to freedom, Christian freedom, the outline also has to do with grace. So, first two chapters talks about the gospel of grace defended. It's explained, and then what do we do from here? Take note of the progression in Galatians First, he talks about theology, the why, and then after that, he talks about the what and the how. He talks about the why, right? Why we do things. And then after that, he talks about the what and the how. That's very important when we talk of Paul motivating his readers and the Christians. You want to give reasons for why we do things. No one wants to be forced to do things, right? You don't like to be forced to do things, especially if that's something you don't want to do anyway. But that's why it's important for Christians, especially old Christians, to always remember motivation. Why we do things. So Galatians will have a lot of practicals at the end. But before Paul challenges them on what to do, he explains why. Okay. Some of the highlights in Galatians. Because they had a Jewish background, they were very in touch with the law. Very in touch with the law. But Paul says we operate on faith, not the law. If you want to study this out in your quiet times, the verses are there. He also talks about the importance of protecting the gospel. That we need to guard the gospel because there are many false gospels. I think this is a passage that really needs to be thought of and underlined. Let's go ahead and read this one. Galatians 1, verse 6 to 9. Galatians 1, verse 6 to 9.
Verse 6. I'm astonished that you are so quickly deserting the one who called you to live in the grace of Christ and are turning to a different gospel, which is really no gospel at all. Evidently, some people are throwing you into confusion and are trying to pervert the gospel of Christ. But even if we or an angel from heaven should preach a gospel other than the one we preach to you, let them be under God's curse. As we have already said, so now I say again, if anybody is preaching to you a gospel other than that you accepted, let that be under God's curse.
All right. Do you think that's serious? Yes, pretty serious, okay? So, Paul is saying that the good news has been changed. The good news of how to receive God's blessing, what it takes to become a Christian, people are changing it. And some versions use the term pervert, okay? They're perverting the gospel of Christ. It's a very serious